2 weeks ago, Alex and I were taking a stroll through the Royal Botanical Gardens of Madrid. One area I loved was this pseudo-enclosed series of arbors, those arches on which vines grow. Along this path, they had one vine for each of the varietal grapes grown in Spain. All in all, it's a magical pathway with about 20 or 30 vine-covered arches. At the base of each of these vines, they have little shrubs growing. These are the sapling grape plants. They sprout up quickly, but on their own, very few of them would survive the stress of the environment. The large temperature swings between the very hot days and the stone-cold nights, the rain and the drought. All of these challenges are just a few months away for these saplings. So what the vine grower does is they snap off a branch from this new sapling, cut a notch in the old vine, stuff the branch into the vine, and then put some tape around it. And in a few weeks' time, this sapling is growing on the vine with the same fervor of a mature grape plant. Another fun fact: the grape that you're grafting onto the vine, it doesn't even have to be the same kind of grape. The vine will basically grow the grape that you graft onto it, no matter what it is. And seeing all of this in action made this morning's gospel come alive to me. This morning, Jesus tells us, "I am the vine, and you are the branches." John loves to borrow that burning bush language we hear in Exodus when God reveals God's name to Moses, the great I am. Throughout John, when we hear Jesus use these I am statements, Christ is using metaphors to give us some insight about who God is and how God operates in our world. So today we're left with the image of God being a vine and we being the branches. What we hear in this morning's gospel is really a gracious offer to us vulnerable saplings. Let me give you life. Through the incarnation, through the crucifixion, and through the resurrection, Jesus tells us, I've been through a lot. I've been through the heat and the frost, flood and drought, death and life. And I can see you through those seasons too. He extends this offer not out of a baseless hubris, nor out of a divine bombast, but out of a real and profound experience of the hardship of this world. I was dead, but behold, I am alive forevermore. And let me share that life with you. So what's the catch? We saplings can sometimes think the world is ours, that we can do it all alone. We look to our left and to our right at our flowering green leaves growing so quickly. We look down at the roots we've planted so firmly in the ground and can sometimes think to ourselves, at this rate, I'll be just as big as the vine in no time. We think we can be our own vine. And then comes the scorching sun, withering our leaves and frying our roots. Game over. We are toast. But for God, there's no such thing as too late. That's all Christ has to do is hold our hand and whisper, Talitha cumi. That's all he has to do is stand at the gate of our self-made tomb and yell, Lazarus, come out. And we get grafted onto the vine. We get life. Having been grafted onto the vine, having experienced the life of God, we shine like Moses did after he saw God. We shine like Jesus did after he showed Peter, James, and John but a sliver of that great glory of abundant life, that infinitely deep well of God's love from which you and I are invited to ceaselessly draw. And once we've experienced those moments of God's profound grace, after we've been made one with Christ, with his life flowing through us, how can we not smile? How can we not love? Bearing much fruit seems much less of a choice and much more of an inevitable consequence of being grafted onto the vine of Christ. Loving our brothers, loving our sisters, that's all we can do when Christ's love is coursing through our veins. Having known God and having experienced the Lord of life. This morning, ours is an invitation to be a radiant grape, shining brighter than the sun. We just have to be willing to give up our roots of self-sufficiency and be open to being grafted onto God's vine of grace. What a fine blend this world would be if we all said yes to that invitation.